Hi everyone, welcome to today's read aloud of Mr. Terupt Falls Again. I hope that you are in a comfy spot and you're ready to relax and listen to today's chapter. Just a quick recap of yesterday, and again, if you are not with us, we're on page 10 today, you can go back and listen to the last two videos that go along with this book. They're on YouTube and they'll always be on YouTube, so yeah, check them out so that you're with us. Yesterday we read that Lexi was on a walk, and on her walk she discovered an abandoned house. So she went into the house and there were 3 people hanging out in there, which there shouldn't be, and they're from high school. Now, we learned that they're not a good influence. They offered Lexi a cigarette, which is not okay, and that's where the chapter ended. So we were in a little bit of suspense, and we agree that Lexi's come a long way, especially in the last book. She's really changed, and we don't want her to lose that and fall short to peer pressure. So here we go. Today's viewpoint is from Jessica. Fade in, long shot of Jessica sitting in a classroom with a bunch of other kids. Kids we've never seen before, some older, some the same age. It's obvious this is a classroom devoted to writing. There are books all along the walls, plenty of computers, and an assortment of papers, pencils, pens, and highlighters. All the students are working. Some of them are drafting, others editing, and one is conferencing with the instructor. Jessica, voiceover. I spent the bulk of my summer in New York City at Columbia University, participating in a writing camp. A couple of times a week, Mom would ride the train into the city from New Haven. She'd work on her own writing while I was at camp, and then we'd spend time together in the afternoon and evening. The camp was amazing. I had to submit a piece when I applied, and based on that, I was accepted. Okay, so Jessica's a good writer. I wrote about Mr. Terupt, and that was easy. He's the best man in the world. I was fortunate I'd been having him as my teacher again, and to have been selected for the writing program. My favorite part of the camp was our unit spent on screenwriting. Fade out. Let's do another one. Anna. We're on page 12. For me, a few things stood out from the summer. My mom still worked a few days a week at her school doing library stuff and helping with the summer programs, but I got to spend a lot of time with her. Mom was also spending time with Charlie, and she was very happy. It made me feel good. I liked Charlie too. Mom also kept busy with her artwork. She entered one of her pieces in a show in New York City. We've got to go down there for a few days, which was a lot of fun. I even visited with Jessica. She was in some sort of writing camp taking place at Columbia University. The 4 of us, our moms and me and Jessica, had lunch in some fancy little cafe. I also saw Danielle over the summer. Mom and I would go to the farm and visit. Charlie didn't come to our house. Danielle's mom and dad were more accepting of me and Mom now, so it wasn't that big a deal for us to go over to their place. Her grandma and grandpa still never spoke to us, however. I wonder if that will change, everyone. I hope so. But the farm was great. My favorite part was helping Charlie and Danielle with the nighttime milking. My first time doing it, Charlie said, "Anna, come take a look at this." He was sitting beside one of the cows, getting ready to put the machine on her. When I bent closer to look, he squeezed her treat and milk shot into my face. "You just fell for the oldest trick in the book," Danielle said, laughing. The other thing I did over the summer was help Mr. Terupt move our classroom down to the 6th grade annex. I did this on those days Mom had to work, though Mom even came to help a few times. Peter helped too, or tried to. Somehow his good intentions often turned into mess-ups, but I had fun with him. Most of the time I was laughing, like the day he crammed all he could into one box. I tried to warn him, but he didn't want to listen. When it was time to lift the box, Peter grunted and groaned. He turned all red in the face just getting it off the ground. As soon as he stood up, the bottom of the box fell out. Stuff crashed the floor and scattered everywhere. I tried not to laugh, but that was hard. Then Peter tried carrying more than one box, but he hurt himself because he couldn't see where he was going. At first, as if that wasn't bad enough, the next thing he did was let loose on a terrible smelling fart. Then he tried to blame Lexi for it. Imagine her farting, please. Next, he decided he was going to carry a tower of books to our new room. He said he'd have enough of boxes and figured he could carry more as a tower anyway. Those chapter books could have slippery covers. I tried telling him, but no. Peter, they are not Legos, I said. Ta-da! He stood up with his tower, bottom hand by his knees, his top hand above his eyes. He took a few steps, and then it happened. The middle book sprang free, setting off a domino effect of books shooting out of his tower like bullets. After the frenzy, Peter stood there with one book in his hands. Maybe you should try a different approach, Mr. Terupt said, chuckling again. I wanted to see if it would work, Peter said. Well, now you know, Mr. Terupt said. But that's good. You are experimenting. That's science, and I like that. Peter looked at me and shrugged. I smiled and shook my head. Despite his mess-ups, Peter showed up every day to help. As long as his mess-ups didn't turn into an accident like last year, I was fine with his good intentions. The annex was a little complex separate from the main school building. It looked just like the main school, same red bricks and windows, but it wasn't attached. Mr. Terupt, why do we even have an annex? I asked. We were carrying boxes down to our new room. I've never seen another school with one. Well, my best guess is that at some point the town must have decided they needed more space for all the students. So the annex was constructed. It was probably the wisest solution. The annex wasn't far from the main building, just a short distance down the sidewalk, out the side door, but it was still a lot of work to move. We had to box up all of Mr. Terupt's things, move them, and then unpack them and get the stuff put away. That's the part I liked, the putting away part. I liked it because then I got to decide how to arrange our new classroom, and I liked it because I got to do it with Miss Newberry. She was also there every day. There were some beautiful bookcases in our new room, a few low-to-the-ground ones and a couple that climbed up the side wall. Mr. Terupt had plenty of books for the shelves. He had old ones and new ones. One day, I opened an older-looking one, Bella Pratter's Boy by Ruth White, and I saw an inscription, Happy 12th birthday, William. Love, Mom. Below it, Mr. Terupt had written his full name, William Owen Terupt, and his home address. His books were treasures, just like they were for Jessica. William was a good name for Mr. Terupt. He could be serious and taken seriously like a William. He could be fun and a bit wild and crazy like a young boy named Billy. Or maybe he was a young, handsome catch named Will. Mr. Terupt had a great personality. William was the perfect name for him. I read his book, Bella Pratter's Boy. I had gotten into reading more because of Mr. Terupt and Jessica. The story was about a boy missing his mama, wondering what happened to her. It made me wonder more about my father and who he was. Those noises are all you turning in assignments, which is very good. I spent several days working with Ms. Newberry organizing Mr. Terupt's books on those shelves. You like him, don't you? I said. Can't believe she asked that. Working next to her one day, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I had to ask so I could hear her answer. Of course I like him, Anna. Everyone likes Mr. Terupt. No, I said. Not like that. I mean, you really like him, don't you? Now she stopped. She looked at the books in her hands and smiled. Then she looked at me, still smiling. But before she answered, Ms. Newberry asked me a question. What makes you think that, Anna? Is it because I'm here every day? I said. It's not like that. It's the way you look at him. Oh, she said, and then her smile grew even bigger. When we finished, we had a great reading corner with lots of lights from the windows on our back wall. I knew Jessica was going to like that. There was also a row of cabinets with a nice countertop all along the window area, and a back door that was all grass and that opened directly to the outside. Our front door opened to the hallway inside the annex. We had a sink area on the wall opposite the books, and next to the sink stood several tall cabinets for storage. We arranged the desks in tables of 4. I liked our new room, and so did Mr. Terupt. When he first looked at our finished reading corner, he was all smiles. I didn't tell Ms. Newberry, but it wasn't just the way she looked at him. It was the way he looked at her, too. Oh my goodness! A little bit of a love story here. I think it's cute. I just want Mr. Terupt to be happy, don't you, everyone? He's been through a lot, and I feel like this book is going to talk a lot about his past. We know that when he was in the hospital, he didn't have much family visit him. It was mostly people from the school and his students. So that's kind of what we use a literary term foreshadowing. And we've talked about this in class before, where you get a glimpse or a hint of something that might be told later in a story. And I think that no one came to the hospital to visit him, no family members. It's kind of a glimpse that, I don't know, maybe he had a rough childhood. So I just want the best for him, and if that's Miss Newberry, then that's awesome. So we'll just have to keep reading and find out. I'm going to end here. We're on page 17, and I will post the next video tomorrow. Again, you can be journaling about this, and I hope that you are keeping up with the reading and obviously the math videos that are going up every day as well. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you all soon. Miss you.